Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review. There's another paid request, this time from Eelco. Thank you so much for that. First off, apologies for the background noise. And second off, if anyone's interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos or topics or commentaries or whatever, feel free to send them either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for Only the Brave, a 2017 film starring Josh Brolin, Miles Teller, Jeff Bridges. You got Jennifer Connelly in it. And I would say this is probably the best firefighter movie since Backdraft. I would put a Backdraft above it, but because it's well filmed, has a good cast, but also it's a very tragic story. It's based on a real life event where 19 of 20 members of a firefighting team were lost during a hill fire in 2013. It was the Granite Mountain Hotshots. That was the name of the group. It was in Prescott, Arizona. They were trying to help. Sadly, the fire was too quick, and in the end, 19 of the 20 passed away. And it's the stuff leading up to that, but it showcases Josh Brolin's character, who's with Jennifer Connelly, and he's a guy who's very much into his job. He's not really committed to having a family at that point. Meanwhile, Miles Teller, who I've liked in a couple films, in one called Bleed for Me, and another called, I believe it's called Whiplash. Good actor. He's this druggie who got his girl pregnant, and he's told to stay away, but then he gets a job at a firefight as a firefighter, and he's going through the drills, he's going through the training, and he does decent and gets to be part of the group. And he starts leaving groceries at the girl's place so that her and the baby have supplies, and starts getting pulled into their life and given a chance because he's proven himself to be responsible individual. And there's nothing completely dramatic in terms of the characters, where there's nothing, how do I put it, that feels forcefully pushed in there. Like, it felt a bit natural where the story went. And there's some good looking shots. There's good looking shots of the firemen going through this hillside that's been completely burnt to a crisp. Some nice shots from up top, or some nice wide shots. Some shots of the fire. Not too bad effects wise. You tell there's some practical being used. Even the CGI is not as bad as I've seen in other places. And it shows them doing a couple of their missions where they have to either light a couple acres and do a backburn to help cut this fire off. There's another point where they gotta save this historic tree, so they form a line to stop the fire dead in its tracks. And again, I just thought it went sort of a natural pace where it didn't feel like it was going to different tangents that you go, why is this part of the movie? Or this could get cut out. Or, okay, are we in a different film now? Does this side plot need to be here? No, it's mainly them doing their job. You get a bit of Miles Teller's story, bit of Josh Brolin's story, and then we're back to this group of folks living their daily lives, again, doing their little missions to get these fires out. And about how earlier Josh Brolin had an idea to get the fire off. He was not listened to, which led to a town being burnt up. And he talks to Jeff Bridges, who's the fire chief. Listen, we're just these little group. If you give us the opportunity to be what they call hot shots, a more elite group, then we can really get things in gear. Again, Jeff Bridges ultimately does give him and the group the opportunity, and they're able to do some nice business. so to speak. Now, it doesn't have the intense firefighting moments like Backdraft, which is much more artistic, dramatic for a film. I think the reason they did that is because this is based on a true story. When you're based on a true story where a lot of people did die, how far do you go artistically and don't? If you try to go too far, will it be in bad taste? Will it be in a poor taste? I don't know. That's a very sketchy line to do. That's why I hate to say it, part of me wishes this was not based on a real life story. That if you took the same bit, but it wasn't based on, and then that way you could fudge a little bit of events. You could be a bit more lenient in certain events, so you can be maybe a little bit more artistic in the fire sequences like Backdraft. Because Backdraft to me is the best movie dealer firefighting because of those scenes with the fire. Just intense and crazy how that was done. All done for real. That's another thing. There's some CG work in here, but it's again tolerable. It's decent. Backdraft is just, but in comparison, like this is way better than Backdraft 2. This is way better than. It's a different kind of firefighting movie, but Firestorm with Howie Long. But that's the only comparison between the two that's similar is there's firefighters, but it's a completely different movie. Well, here there's some nice natural dramatic moments like Josh Brolin yelling at Miles Teller who wants to transfer so his daughter grows up with a dad. And then Josh Brolin says, well, you know what, if you quit this crew, maybe you'll end up back where you started, huh? Or you'll end up dead, or you'll end up behind bars, and... Yeah, I did. The cast did a good job. And then when you get to the finale, and you realize the mistakes other people did, which led to certain things, and if you know a bit about the history, is this impending doom that just leaves a very sad, tragic ending, which you can't change because that's what really happened. And I'm not going to use the word powerful or what other critics say, but it does elicit a bit of emotion. And like, oh, man, kind of that reaction. Like, oh. And like I say, the cinematography, the effects for the most part, it's a good looking movie. Like, it didn't look like a cheap film to make. And when this film came out, it did nothing. Nothing awards wise, nothing box office wise. It's been completely forgotten. I went, this movie's pretty damn decent to be forgotten so easily. I mean, compared to some of the movies that win Oscars, like Nomadland and Parasite, some of these other films, I'm like, Only the Brave is a better movie than them. Same with Bleed For Me, another Miles Teller film. I thought, wow, that's actually a pretty good movie, Bleed For Me. That's an underrated film. And there's a few others. I would put this above Ladder 49. This one, I like the way this one looked a bit more. Maybe because of firefighting, it dealt with a different venue. Because a lot of the other firefighters movies are like within a city. Other than Firestorm, but usually they're with it. Here it's more dealing with the hill fires, which you hear more about that, especially in California. I mean, this took place in Arizona, but without the California hill fires, that's something that seems more prominent in the news. Which I guess makes sense because each city has their firefighting team, which take out fires each day. But when that hill fire just takes out such a big realm of land, it's just even that much more destructive, so it seems. And spoiler alert, spoilers, the only one who's able to make it out is Miles Teller because he was the lookout. And he almost gets fucked up. He gets saved. The other people that tried to get to a piece of land to help, but it's too late. They had a burn. A plane fucked up and dumped it out when they weren't supposed to. Then much later on, another plane's supposed to dump water for them. It misses them entirely. So part of me wanted a bit more of the, like, wait a minute, what the fuck happened? Who the hell were flying these planes? Like a little bit of, I guess that would deter from the story of these guys and what happened to them. Because really, it's tragic because they tried to help, but they couldn't do anything, and they were fucked over twice because some idiot in planes made mistakes dumping water. Then they have this deployment thing where they take these covers and put them over them. And I guess I kind of trying to think, like, the covers are supposed to protect them. Do the covers not protect them? Or was it because they were just being in that area for so long that it just could not keep up that cover? But I mean, it's an emotional ending that did its job what it was supposed to fairly well. You know, the other people being very sad about their loved ones being gone. And I thought Miles Teller did a great job. Him breaking down. I really appreciated the scene where he comes in, he sees all the other families. He showcases that, yeah, he's the only one that made it. He walks out, he's stumbling, he's crumbling to the ground, and Jennifer Connelly, who is Josh Brolin's lady, she's been very nice. And she's like, don't do this, don't do this. And he's like, it should have been me. They were better than me. No, 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 don't do this. Okay? He will like that you're alive. That, I can't remember the exact dialogue, but I thought it was a really nice scene that, despite her going through this, Jennifer Connelly was strong enough to help someone in need. So it props up her character, but it doesn't demean another character. And it also props up Miles Teller because he's unselfish. He's like, it should have been me who's dead. So it props up both characters without demeaning either character, if that makes sense. Which is something a lot don't do nowadays. Filmmakers, directors, writers. It's like, we got prop one, but bring one down. No, it's two. One survivor guilt, the other losing a loved one, trying to help each other. I appreciated that. And Jennifer Connelly just a good actress as well. Although, the funny thing is, with Jennifer Connelly, I swear, if she's in a film, the film flops. Even though it's a good film, like, when she's in the film, the film either flops or isn't as much of a hit as it was supposed to be, whether it be Labyrinth, whether it be Hulk 2003, whether it be Dark City, whether it be even this movie. She has some good films, but a lot of times their films are... Was she in The Rocketeer? I'm trying to remember if she was in The Rocketeer, or is that someone else? If so, that's another example. Like, she just has a bad luck. She's in good movies, but then the movies don't do much. Just like Dark City's a good movie. I think 2003 Hulk is underrated. This is a good movie. She does a solid job. You know, she wants a family, and Josh Brolin, he's fighting it, but then realizes that there's this weird motif that I don't know if this is what happened in real life. I kind of wish this wasn't in the film, because it just brings a bit of weirdness to it. Just the first shot is a bear, like, made of fire. I'm like, is this a bear spirit? And it's like a nightmare Josh Brolin has. I don't mean like a bear that's caught on fire. It looks like a bear made of fire running through the forest. And then later on, Josh Brolin tells the story to Jeff Bridges that one time he was working and he saw a bear on fire. And it was the most beautiful most beautiful but most horrifying thing he's seen. I'm like, well, number one, it looked like a bear made of fire. It looked like we're in a different genre of movie. Like, it doesn't look like a bear that caught on fire. It looks like a bear made of fire. And I don't know if that was a real thing that happened with the Granite Mountain Hotshots, or is that something they made up for the film? And that was like one of their few like artistic points. I mean, I will admit there's a part of me that didn't know if I was to laugh or not. I know that's bad for me to say, but I'm just being honest. I'm like, was that really needed? I don't think that was needed. I don't think that was needed in the film. Because when that's the first shot you see, you go, that's a weird first shot. This is a bear made of fire? Is this a sequel to The Last Airbender? Hope not. But I'm like, okay, it got better from that. But it was a bad first impression. I'm like, what the fuck is this? I thought it was part of like a logo or something. Like some logo. You know how movie logos have these weird things? Like the TriStar. The horse. Fucking wings. What's going on? And then the TriStar picture logo. I thought it was like some type of logo with a bear. And then it's like, I don't know, bareback entertainment. I don't know what it'd be called, but no, it's not. But yeah, if you know anything about, or even if you don't know anything about the real life story, if you want to see a story done that has a good emotional palette to it, that has solid acting, that there's not a lot of too forcible, over the top drama that seems fake, phony. It doesn't seem like it's going all over the place at different tangents and subplots. It sticks to the story fairly straightforward. And it's a good looking movie. Like I said, you can tell there was a budget behind this. And an ending that got me, that made me feel something. Because you felt bad for what happened. Not only because it happened in real life, but because of, you know, you feel sorry for Miles Teller. You feel bad for the men, that for Brolin and his men. And yeah, I would say I would put it as the best firefighting movie since Backdraft. I mean firefighting movie, not like Collateral Damage. Like Collateral Damage, Arnold's a firefighter, but I wouldn't call it a firefighting movie. He plays a firefighter, but yeah, I don't call it a firefighting movie. So yeah, there are movies where people play a firefighter, but I did firefighter movie like Ladder 49. This Backdraft. Okay, Backdraft is the best. I think this is the second best. So Only the Brave, not too bad of a movie. That was pretty decent. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you guys later. Bye bye.